this video right here, I didn't do enough research myself to try to understand. Sometimes I allow my brain to in fact do the research pertaining to, say, what I was looking at a minute ago. I was like, man, I should in fact complete this video along with the other compilation videos that I had made, right? Pertaining to like Relisha RUDD, I was trying to figure out while I was standing here, should I actually sit and make this video or should I wait? Because see, to not fully say, what's the word for it? Go outside your own world, to look all across the net for information, right? In which I like to do, as well as contacting people. I do that as well. I ain't got no fear in that, as in contacting, as in who you need to know, as in where you need to go for even information, right? Trying to stay in touch and keep in touch and contact with all that type of stuff. But industry, I'm saying. But pertaining to, I'm trying to understand, because yeah, I was gonna wait for this, because to let my brain, to allow my brain to pick apart pieces as I go along, is to be able to solve, or if not completely, somewhat pertaining to a measurement where it does and doesn't fit, such as a child's clothes, and say a swimsuit being involved in that. A swimsuit, as in where you like to go, a swimming pool. Yes, Relisha RUDD in a swimsuit, because I said, okay, if I make the video, I got enough information to go along, and yet I don't. Because to not be given enough information is to say where to go to first to begin with. Which is why I'm sitting here kind of like, but I was just thinking like, okay, why would a grown man, oh, by the way, yes, the Discovery Channel, outside all haters, scum of the earth, right? So, yes, Discovery, like, subscribe, and the Discovery Channel, yes, the Discovery Channel, the link is provided below, as well as me with my logo up above, as in the t-shirt, as in the other logo owned by Discovery themselves, right? Tell a hater to fall back, catch up on the slack in that, dear love. But yet, so I'm trying to see, if you don't have enough information to go off of, as in even police themselves don't, right? Is to start pulling apart and knocking out teeth. I said that as in what I like to do. No, that's a joke. But what I can on a hater's head. Let me see. Even in the news feed. And possibly coverage set on top of it. Dear God. But yeah, so that's to say, if you got a swimsuit, and FBI never said anything more, why would a man buy a child a swimsuit and then kill himself afterwards? A swimsuit. Where I just keep getting quiet, because I don't know what else more to say even in that, as in a death aspect. A surveillance tapes. Okay, so surveillance tapes, we mentioned that before. Everybody done seen that pertaining to the child. Surveillance tapes owned by the hotel in which Khalil stayed himself. That's Khalil, not me, that's me. But the man before, yes, his face was there after a ghost, yeah, replaced it, right? But Khalil himself, on a surveillance tape of them not showing the child walking back out of the room, is to say, well, where is she, right? But in that is to ask, where does the swimsuit fit in that, pertaining to the hotel room and all that, and there being no coverage, as in even the child being seen fitting into a swimming pool. That don't make sense. Why would a man buy a swimsuit before he kills himself? Why would a man buy a child a swimsuit? Yes, for a child before he kills himself. Why would a 51-year-old man? This is for those that have not heard about the Relisha RUDD story. Yes, and even the business community of where I'm going to post this video, they should want to get involved as well. As in to use your skills. Wake up in life. As in be shook. I just did. And so a 51 year old man. That doesn't make sense. Buy a 8-year-old, a female, a swimsuit. She then goes missing, and then he goes to commit suicide afterwards. And along with the suicide came the death of his wife, in which she divorced him the month before the child went missing. Yes, and then he kills himself. Why is that? Blood stands all over that man's hands, and not just one way. I think the child was killed as well. And yet to keep hope alive is to keep hope alive for many, yes, right? Many individuals, right? Even myself possibly wouldn't want to face that sort of thing, that the child more than likely is dead. As in, the detail is telling. Why would you need to buy a child a swimsuit? Killed your wife. She became ex-wife, as in a former lover of something. And then you turn the gun on yourself, but then there's a child that's missing in all of that. That's to say, that's why FBI felt that the child was dead and gone, as in to be laid to rest. Something about that ain't right. That's telling too. As in possibly Relisha's whereabouts. And I'm thinking Relisha's mother possibly might not even know. As in, the girl may or may not have been sold off into sex trafficking. I myself don't know, and I said that how many times, and yet I'm repeating as I did before. But that's to say too that Relisha's mother may not even know where the child is, because she's more than likely dead or something. You just don't buy a child a swimming suit to go underwater and all that other stuff, and then not come back up to be found or something. Because why would he need to kill everybody else in that process, as well as kill himself, but then not kill the child as well? Something is very dark, as in vacancy is there. The child's life, I'm saying, where it more than likely has been taken or something. I can see all the way through that, and yet I'm trying to hold on to the hope, as in peace. Keep hope alive and peace alive. I'm sensing more than likely that young child is dead, as in gone, as in laid to rest. Completely. The darkness aspect, that points to complete darkness or something. A blackness, a black tint or something. As in where you're going away and then nobody can find you because you possibly been laid to rest. And police and FBI might not even know where the search, and even that. The purchase of a swimsuit. Because see, even when that grown man was seen exiting say getting out of a car or wherever, going to the train station, no child was ever seen on surveillance with him. And even that pertaining to a train or any of that, right? There was a mother that in fact killed her child and took the child. It was a young boy, to be specific. The mother in fact killed the young child of her own and got on the train with the child while he was dead. She literally knocked that boy, yes, abused him fully, to the fact that he has scars and everything else in relation to forensic science, and yet being able to see the abuse was there, right? The grown woman actually killed her son, put the child on the back of her back, and walked out in public going towards the train station. The surveillance tape picked that up, of her walking with a child, a dead body on her back. And yet nobody in the public knew he was dead. They possibly just thought he fell asleep. They was out somewhere, because parents do that sort of thing. The child be out somewhere with the parent, and then the parent pick them up, and then the child is say sleep on the parent's back, and nobody know that death is involved in that, in which it had occurred with that mother. She carried that young child on her back all through public, where even the surveillance picked it up, or her going Yes, towards the train station, to enter a train station, to get on a train with a child of hers that was in fact dead and gone to begin with. And then once she got inside of the train station, she in fact propped the child's body up, yes, with a bag, to keep the child sitting there to make it look like he was alive when he was dead gone to begin with. What type of mother? That's sad in itself, to kill your child, carry him on your back where everybody can see, and yet they think he's asleep. That is off the hook. Somewhere in Google search or whatever, you can see that it was all on the news and everywhere else. She had to in fact go to jail for abuse, the mother, I'm saying, because she said amongst society, not only carrying him on her back, but she also did that sitting within the four walls of a train station, and even security bypassing them with that sort of activity, the death, and sitting amongst people and having that dead body of her son sitting there with the bag propping him up. Then she in fact takes him on a train with society, individuals such as you as I. She in fact got on that train with the dead body of her child and had him sitting there the same way she did in the train station, propping him up with a bag, having him sit right next to her, and nobody knowing he dead, everybody just thinking he sleep. You know how long it take for rigor mortis to set in? As in when a body goes stiff, goes cold completely, no life is there, lifeless body, and then it goes stiff. How long it takes for that? For some bodies it is in fact quick, depending on if there's an illness or use of medication there. The police or FBI never stated whether the child was on medication or anything. To say that you use medication, as in your child or adult, as to say rigor mortis or whatever, might in fact speed up the process in that, and even in decaying a dead body. Medication does that to a dead body. It speeds up the decaying process of a body. It takes over that body. And so in me saying that, that mother got on that train the same way she sat in that train station. And then she gets to where her father was, because her father came to pick her up from the train station, right? The woman literally got in the car with her father, put the dead son in the car with the father, the grandfather of the child, and then goes to her father's house. This grown woman goes to her father or parents' house or wherever, because they lived out of city or out of state, right? City out of state. And then they get in the house of the loved ones of the child, and as they're all sitting there, they notice that something is not right. Like the child is not breathing, and not only that, he's cold, turning cold. Bodies go blue with that, as sometimes purple, right? In death. And so the family noticed the situation, that something is not right about the child. What is going on? He's not breathing. The mother just more likely stood there as they called police and all that. That's so sad for a grandparent to have to face their grandchild in that way. As in a daughter coming to visit, knowing you're more likely excited that your grandchild is coming, because some of these grandparents don't even see their own love. Yes, grandchildren's enough to begin with. And so to know that your grandchild is coming on the way is to say, more than likely death can stand in that, but you don't know, as in on the way, that sort of thing, as in when it takes place, but you don't know, right? And then to have a grandparent stand over the dead body of their grandchild, that's sad. That's in fact what that is, and that's what happened with those beloved, yes, grandparents pertaining to their grandson, and that mother going to jail for abuse. And she should, because to do that, she dug all the way in his mouth. I can understand kids could get carried away, but there's a better way to even deal with that. As in knock a kid lights out, as in she did it in the way, but there's a better way, as in what you would use, possibly not going over the head. That's something my grandmother taught me. Yet anytime you're gonna want to get on the backside of a child, you don't go in the head or the face. It will kill them, and possibly on the spot. And so the mother and she in fact texts the boyfriend, or she in fact texts her boyfriend or the child's father to let him know of what she did, that she gave him a good beating, her child, right? And so the FBI, they had that as well, as in when stuff be made public, as in what you see Facebook and all that other stuff, right? That is sad in itself. Children can in fact get out of hand. I in my past have been known to place some hands on some children, but not in that way as in knocking them dead. But I don't play even that, which is why I got out the school system to begin with, because I ain't gonna take no child coming at me all slick in the mouth on their end. Not when they feed and then they laying up amongst you and all that other stuff, expecting you to pay all the bills and they getting gifts on their birthday and Christmas. You got to know how to talk like an individual like me, dear child, which is why I don't have any like that. And yet if they was talking crazy, I would in fact smooth them on out. Yes, not in no death, but calm all that down, as in make them possibly leery in me. Yes, my own child, because to respect something is to respect the household as well, as in what you don't say. And yet I think that mother possibly have had other issues as well. Because to say you killed a child and more than likely wasn't thinking right to put the child on your back is to say mental illness possibly stood within that mother's walls or her brain. Because see, I might be the type of individual to not kill a child but kill a grown man or woman if I'm at threat or something. Yes, that has to be gone out of the atmosphere or even mind. Dear investigation discovery, that's the truth and not a lie. Pertaining to even stalkers, right? But not a child. But when it comes to, say, I'm trying to think of the mother. When I'm saying my end, if a stalker threat and I gotta kill them off and get rid of them, that just will have to go, right? That's the truth. Dear discovery, y'all see me. Hello, FBI. Shouts out to FBI. Y'all see me if that sort of thing was to take place. That's the truth. Say what you feel any time of the day. And who don't like it can fuck off with that, right? And so, in me saying that, because, see, look, I will lay somebody to rest if I'm at threat, as in I'm a stalker or something crazy like that, or them threatening my life. I just have to. I got to look out for my well-being, right? It's called survival. And in that, me saying that when it comes to somebody dead, I'm not going to carry them around. That's what I'm saying about the mental illness aspect, because their spirit might in fact come back and await me. Didn't I say that about Casey Anthony pertaining to the pet cemetery, as in Casey Anthony more than likely killed her daughter, that little girl of hers, right? Yes, as in killed her and laid her off to rest through some form of suffocation or something, pertaining to what she searched and looked up, the mother, I'm saying. And yet her child's spirit might await her, or might be in her house, she just don't know. And yet it might be a devilish spirit to even kill Casey Anthony off. Pet cemetery or something, right? In that form. And so I wouldn't want to do that sort of thing based off of if I kill somebody, just be walking around with them on my back like it's a backpack. That's not going to happen. Because at any time they might in fact, I might think they dead and I'm carrying them on my back and they might in fact wake up. There's YouTube videos on that about children and grown men and women that have been, yes, in the morgue, possibly close enough to a cemetery. Yeah, not at the funeral, but close enough as in where they're dead and gone and you think they're dead and gone and then they wake up. And there you have it, to be freaked out. They might just kill you right then. You don't know. Something might in fact take over their body and they might be possessed. And I don't mean repossessed. Right? And so with that being said, that spirit might in fact try to, yes, after you tried to kill them and they're not dead and come back to life, they might in fact kill you on the spot. That's why I don't do that sort of thing. I stay away from even that. And I stay away from people that would try to put me in that situation where I might in fact need to have to get into it by getting into their ass, as in leave me alone, don't stalk me, and don't put no harm such as a threat. I've gotten death threats before. Certain things I don't never even say, and yet I should. The death threats I've received. I wonder why. Possibly because some people can't live with themselves, so they take it out on you because they're a loser in life. I have in fact received death threats. That is so sad in itself. And yet I walk anywhere I want to freely. There's no roller coaster ride in that. As in me, oh, well, such and such said this and it sent me a death threat, so let me know. Matter of fact, you need to, no, matter of fact, with the death threat, don't play with me. Do not do it. Any of y'all out there. Dear Discovery, But yeah, you get all type of stuff from people. Death threats, that in fact should go to the trash. As in, when you see it and you receive it, that should in fact go to the trash. Be willing to handle your own on any global platform, is what I'm trying to say. Because even celebrities receive that and they don't speak on it. The death threats. Oprah herself have received death threats. All type of celebrities receive death threats. So am I or am I not a celebrity? It's almost looking that way. That is off the hook. But I'm just saying, pertaining to that sort of thing, I don't want to even carry an individual like that with me on my back in the form of a backpack or all the rest, as in somebody issuing a death threat on my life and then I carry them with me. No, that shows mental illness or something. That mother, I'm thinking that's what she had to have had. Some people felt, well, maybe it was post-traumatic stress disorder, or maybe it was pertaining to her having babies or kids. Not that. Post-traumatic stress disorder, that's something else. But yeah, when you have kids and stuff like that, you have hormones that go out of whack. People was thinking, well, maybe she had another child, a baby or something, and then that sent her into that. Well, that needs to be resolved as well, as in get on something or something to deal with that. Because if you're going to be killing kids with the hormone going haywire, is to say don't have kids in the first place. Because we know that hormones would in fact go haywire just enough for you to say be in that zone to want to kill your kids in the first place. How newborns get killed. It is not sudden infant death while it's happening. A mother's hormones going all abroad, and that you don't want to have a child with that, because so many mothers suffer with that. They get pregnant and then they can't deal with their hormones while they're pregnant, and then they can't deal with their hormones after they have a child. Those type of people, they don't need to have children because of death can wait. But yeah, so I went all off topic. Maybe I should, because it spices up the commercial. The commercial in which I stand right here. This is in fact a commercial. To have a logo and you're talking is to say hello. But yeah, let me see. If you're gonna hide how does hiding a child with a swimsuit on fit in with that? Dear Khalil, come back to life and be rushed back to life with that. And I don't mean in the form of ambulance or a helicopter. I'm saying, how does a man say get a swimsuit, or did that come before? My timing might be off, so forgive me in that. How does a man say buy a child a swimsuit and then the child is missing pertaining to the timing? How are you buying a swimsuit for something that's done publicly? Because see, a swimming pool is not done. A swimming pool is not done in, say, a hotel lobby. No, a swim pool is not done under surveillance tape, or maybe it could if the hotel had a swimming pool area. Many hotels do, or motels have swimming where you can go take your child, and that has to be picked up on surveillance, because even fights break out of underwater, and then you do want to see who drowned who in the end as an end result. And so hotels, they have surveillance cameras everywhere, usually most of them, motels too. But to say you're going out in public to swim, how does that measure in going out to swim in a swimsuit, you being a child 8 years old, that a grown man 51 years old has bought you that swimsuit? How does going out in public with a swimsuit on in a swimming pool that's made public, and yet a child is nowhere to be found in that, as in she's missing? Because there's no swimming in no hotel room or no motel room. I'm trying to understand that. The division aspect where you break something down. Trying to make sense of that. There's no, because see, Khalil had to have known he was going to take the child out somewhere in public to swim to begin with. I'm thinking in sex trafficking, how would a swimsuit play into that? Let's bring hope back together, as in bring it back alive. How would a swimsuit factor into sex trafficking if the child is alive and say Khalil, him, the individual in the photo? How would that play together? a swimsuit fit in with the sex trafficking aspect of Khalil being dead and gone, killed his wife, and then gave the child off to somebody in sex trafficking? Where does a swimsuit fit with that? Because swimming pools are all out in the open, and yet usually sex trafficking is done in the dark. Sex trafficking is done in the dark, whereas swimming pools, and swimsuits, stuff like that. Or maybe Relisha was being a stripper, I don't know. That's not a joke, it's not a game. And yet something about this don't fit. It don't add up right. Because to say that you want to be in a swimsuit is to say more than likely that child didn't. Because see, remember, police, look at me when I say this, pay attention to detail. The layer is off pertaining to even him, the individual up above. If a child, when the police felt that the child was dead and gone, there's more specified underneath that, as in they in fact, a swimsuit has to say if they found that anywhere, the police, I'm saying, if they got that in possession and yet they're not showing the public, some things they don't tell, right? And so if a swimsuit or even the purchase of a swimsuit is to even be able for police to even be able to identify the swimsuit itself, even if it was on a receipt, to go back to the store or even to go to, say, look up whatever pertaining to even manufacturing corporation. Because see, a SKU number stands in that. Do you know what a SKU number is? SKU, SKU. Let me look this up right quick. A SKU number is pertaining to when you purchase items. Because see, I used to work in retail. Most people don't know what it's inventory. I worked in retail before at various places. I worked everywhere. And the being branding today is to say that, as in where you can use your skills. This is in fact considered a SKU. A SKU. See that where I just said that SKU? People pronounce it differently. UPC numbers pertaining to what you're gonna purchase and why. That in fact has to be registered in the system as in a store. Even if FBI get their hands on something like that, being able to go back to something, even when, say, a person can't recount whether they seen somebody in the store or not, a receipt would in fact have something. Yes, the receipt in fact have some number of an object, as in, say, if I or you were FBI and I was to go back to the store, the receipt is not going to have a barcode. No, it's not going to in fact have a barcode, or maybe it would if it's a place like Walmart. Sometimes they do have that, right? And so a SKU is going to have, say, if you print out a receipt, there's in numbers. Pay attention, because people don't when it comes to this. If I go to Walmart and I purchase something, I'm going to have a receipt. And on that receipt is going to list all the objects in which I purchase. I can't even spell receipt. Let's see if we can find a Walmart receipt. I'm sure I got one on me. When you go to Walmart, you're going to purchase something. And when you purchase, because see, I know and understand all this. I worked at various stores. Just to know, and I did inventory too, as in the count. How many items that you're counting, because to keep up with all this is to prevent theft. Which is why I'm speaking on the camera saying it, so that you, the viewer, can understand this. This is a teaching aspect as well. Without a flower or a plant. So this right here are numbers. It's got the manager's name at the top. It's got the phone number. It's got the city and the state where you did the purchase, right? This right here pertaining to what the number actually is. This could be the location of the store, or over here might in fact be the location of the store. As in, the store always has a number. It always does, and many people don't know that. Either the number is on this side of the store, or the number can in fact be on this side. But a number awaits you in that. To contact back, even if you got to contact headquarters and say, well, store 587 or something like that, right? The number has to be involved with that if there's an issue complaint. And so, okay, so this right here says this is a pineapple, or not a pineapple, two nipples. So let me think. Would a nipple in fact involve a baby? That's a 2-piece nipple or something. And I'm thinking maybe a baby, but a nipple would cost more than that. I'm thinking more than $267, or maybe it wouldn't, right? And so in this, you saw receipts. You guys got to pay attention. And I'm saying this too because anytime you shop at Walmart, sometimes they cheat you on the prices by accident. I'm saying because there's a scanning gun that goes with this as well, which is what I used to do in inventory. You gotta bring, I used to do all this. I used to bring inventory off of a truck, right? Unload it off of a truck from a loading dock, take everything off the truck, get the gun and scan the item so that they're registered into the system, the SKU system pertaining to who was going to buy what, and you're keeping track of that so that there's no theft. And if there is theft, because there's loss of money in theft, the store loses money every time a thief goes out into Walmart or wherever else store location and steals something and don't pay for it. That's a loss on the end of the store committed by a customer. And so to keep track of that is to register it within the store. And I worked all that behind the scenes, unloading trucks, shooting it with the gun, and I don't mean to kill, yes, to put it into the system so that the store could keep count of when there's a loss, when there was a damage. Yes, damage as well play into this. There could be a full carton of eggs that comes off of a truck, because remember, semi trucks play into all of this, the shipment and things getting broke and all that. Toys R Us, same type of ordeal. Any store you're going to, there could be the truck could turn a certain way and something, or even off the assembly line, products are prone to be damaged in that, right? They come off the assembly line and they're broken in that, and yet they make their way onto the back of loading on a semi truck. Or they might get damaged at the loading dock where I used to pick up stuff and then it'll drop and then crack, and then there you go, a damage has got to be written up, right? And so to keep a tab on all that isn't a damage, as in the store has to keep tab of that. Remember, because they're spending money as well as consumers. And so to log that to the damages, say you got to put in a counting system. This handle all that. That's why this number is there. To keep a count of something when you use the gun, sometimes you'll see the people in the store doing that, even in Walmart, where they standing. I need y'all to pay attention to all that. This is now school. Yes, it is. Boot camp, my boot camp. And so to see somebody walking into Walmart, to see them carrying a gun pertaining to stock and shelves and putting stuff on shelves, they doing what I did. But this number right here, this is what FBI would in fact use off a receipt to see. Go back to a Walmart, say if Khalil himself, in which I don't think that was the case, if Khalil purchased a swimsuit for Relisha from Walmart, and say there was a receipt in Khalil's possession, as in maybe he didn't throw it away, and say it was in the hotel motel where Khalil stayed at, then that's to say the receipt itself would have been found. It might have been stated a child's sized swimsuit on there. No woman he would have been purchasing it for, because remember, she's dead. He killed her, his wife. And so it would say, like this right here, always pad. Always pad is more than likely always maxi pads, and yet it just doesn't say maxi pads. This right here is more than likely alkaline battery. See that AKL AA6? This more than likely represents, and I could be wrong or possibly right, this right here, ALK represents AA, a 6-pack of alkaline AA batteries. Some panties, that more likely is a female. Sim Adventure. Would that or would that not be for a game or something like that? PlayStation or something like that, sim, or a sim card or something like that. So the FBI would more likely have this on their hands to see, okay, a child's swimsuit. So what they would do is possibly take this right here, the number off of the item of the swimsuit, wherever it was on the list of receipt, and go to the store, or possibly contact manufacturer, that, yes, whoever that, yes, pertaining to the actual swimwear itself, The number count points you back to that, as in being able to FBIC identify what type of swimsuit it was, as in the look. Was it a two-piece swimsuit or was it a full body swimsuit? I got it down to a science, y'all. Always have. I just haven't said, as in completely on camera. To scope it out, as to say. And so that would in fact this number tell police, FBI, whether the swimsuit was a two-piece or a full body swimsuit, with even the two-piece or full body swimwear not even being there in the form of a picture, because a number will point back to that. Because remember, to have this number stand here like this, though this is not the receipt is just like a, you know, like a demonstration type of thing. To have a number there is to say it could represent a swimsuit. And yet, what swimsuit is it in the store? FBI might want to see it. And then look at the label to see what the label is, as in what the label reads. Is it Nike? I don't think Walmart sells Nike apparel or anything like that, right? But say if it was, they can go back and be able to pull apart, yes, through the manufacturer or whoever that made that swimsuit, to see if it was a two-piece or a full body swimsuit. And so in them being able to do that, I'm sorry I got long drawn out, but I had to state that case because that needs to be there as well as in film, the recognition aspect. But pointing to whether by FBI, whether the swimsuit was a two-piece or a full body, is to point to sex trafficking as well. Because to say something is a two-piece swimsuit is to say possibly sex trafficking could have stood in that, as in stands in that or something. If it was a two-piece for a child swimsuit. Yes, a child, 8-year-old woman wearing a two-piece swimsuit, being sex trafficked off. It's to say she might be dressed in the form of a stripper for grown men to take advantage of her and even sex trafficking purposes. And yet to have a full body swimsuit is to say possibly not so. A grown man can't really make his way into that unless he fully undressed her, because remember, it is a full body swimsuit. And so police have to know something pertaining to even that, whether it was a full body. And it could be that more than likely be the case pertaining to why they feel the child is dead to begin with. But police might in fact know what type of swimsuit it was. Full body or something. And not a two-piece. And that could be why they sense that the child is dead and not alive. I'm telling y'all, if it was a they possibly FBI feel that it's a full body or know that it was a full body swimsuit, because if it wasn't a full body, that's to say sex trafficking could more than likely stand there. Child swimsuit. Because it looks too much stripperish is what I'm trying to say. For a young girl to be in a two-piece and they do in fact exist, is to say sex can come out of that, as in a play. This little girl got on a two-piece right here. And yet it was never stated. See that? That a grown man would want to be all over that sort of thing. And yet if it was found anywhere in police or FBI records that sort of swimsuit went on, that would in fact came out their mouth. You know what? Okay, well, more likely she's been sold into sex trafficking. The swimsuit that we found in our possession points to that sort of thing. I don't even think little girls that age should be dressing up in that. That's not cute at all. It is, but it's not. Because see, even grown men get off on that type of thing, seeing a little girl such as that age, even her, she needs not to have that on. It's too sexual in manner. I mean, it's playful and cute for the mother, but for a grown man that's sitting back on the beach, possibly fondling himself in the dark somewhere, after he leave the beach, thinking about your child, is to say put her clothes back on. You should. That's not cute either. Grown men look at that sort of thing, dear mommies, when you don't know what's happening. They in fact look at that type of thing. You don't know what's going on. They look at all of it. Grown men, if they're willing enough to take a child when she's fully clothed, just think of what he would do to her when she has that sort of thing on, as in even imagining her as she has it on, and yet the child or the child's mother don't know that he's doing it. Who does this? Because see, look, to have something like this on is to say you will possibly want to have a costume party where all children are invited and yet not grown men. Dear grown men, that's not to say anything against you. There are in fact grown men all around us that think with the right mind. Tyler Perry is one of them. Hell, many of them are one of them. My brother is one of that have, and the male figure in the photo is one of them, as in saying who you know and how they can act right, pertaining to even say child or something like that. But for the individuals that can't take seeing a child and when them wanting to lust after a child, such as this is a no-go. This should never be allowed, considered in public, ever. Never completely. Because see, there's sick people, all type of sick people that's around us. That either, if you want to have your child in that sort of thing, is to say have them at a pool party in the backyard, and not at a pool party out in the public. That's too much. I don't really like stuff like that. I don't. And I check my niece. This completely, look at that. That is all sexual in nature, and I can see it. As in the designer, whoever chose to design it, that almost look like it's Asian, has been designed by Asians. They practice all type of stuff too, but AliExpress.com or whatever it is, where they sell all type of stuff like that, to get up and go. Let me get up and go on this, pertaining to how I'm going to look, and even a bathing suit and a child wearing it. This child should, I don't like this. Stuff like this turn me off. There is no way she ain't even grown. See what I'm saying? The miscommunication on the end of my brain, as in how I just seen and processed that. I looked at her face and just saw grown, and so I accidentally slipped out of my mouth saying grown. That's a no-go. Who don't know that? You don't never put your child in stuff like this, and whoever don't like what I'm saying needs to be gone as well. Because when a child come up kidnapped and all that other stuff, as in the lure and the prey on that, it's to say somebody might have did it. And if a father can't take his child looking like that, because even some men lust up after their children. Grown men have been known to do that sort of thing, lust after their children, and then take advantage of them and then get rid of the body. Because they couldn't help their own pleasure, as in the situation of not even putting their hands on their child after the mother done dressed the child up in something like this, on vacation or somewhere. I don't like that, because see, there's in fact a thing called the camel toe, as in grown women have it. See right here, I don't really, that sort of thing you can't really help, because that, that is natural, right? But I can't face even that, pertaining to even how a swimming suit is going to fit or something. I never really liked swimming suits on children. I think there should be some type of boy shorts or something that go over that. I do. Covering up your private parts in recognition, as in where I see you. Peekaboo. I see this little girl's vaginal area. It stands out, as in pretty loosely, as in hangs down. That should not be there. Something should cover that. This is too sexually oriented. This is something like a Janet Jackson would in fact wear on stage. I said I got the logo on my hat, didn't I? Do you see that? And the name, that's the type of stuff that she do, and even Madonna would do. But a child, no. Stay and care for Relisha if there included a swimming near the lobby. I asked that if there could have had been a swimming pool somewhere else on location. This one I can't really pick apart. Because to start breaking out some magnifying glass pertaining to a swimsuit, as in what you're gonna do with it. Yes, pertaining to the child and how the swimsuit may or may not look, as you're using the child's body up for sexual purpose, is to say this sort of thing can in fact come off, possibly in sex, right? And yet the asking what way by a grown man in sex trafficking, what's the point in that? As in, what does that serve? I'm thinking that will more likely be a fetish or something. As in, you're wanting to see a child draped in a swimwear, and yet you're not taking them anywhere to beginning to say not even a swimming pool. And that's why I'm in question of why the swimsuit was there. I don't like this. And why I don't like none of this. Matter of fact, maybe I shouldn't even be on the camera, because the more I go, I'm going to start saying what I don't like. Why is this young child dressed like this? And matter of fact, whose child is she? She might in fact be being pimped off. We don't know. She could be in fact being pimped off. Because who in their right mind gonna be an adult and allow their child to let her tongue be sticking out like that? Jolie was old enough, almost in age, to be doing that sort of thing. Jolie Musa, the videos made, compilation videos right here on this YouTube channel. She was almost of age because she was 2 years away from being 18, and yet she wasn't fully completely grown. Jolie. But that's a ways away, completely a ways away. She was almost going into adulthood to be 16 on the way to 18, and yet this child is like nowhere there. She ain't even halfway. So why is your tongue hanging out like that? That spells lust. As well as your butt hanging out like that and you're bending over for something. Why are you bending over for stuff? Dear child. I don't like that either. I don't like none of this. Why does she have that on? Why? That's in fact stupid. On the ignorance of the parent. Because see, look at that. That looked like stripified as well. That's a new word I just made up. Stripified. It probably already exists in the dictionary. Who knows? But that's no. This type of stuff you wear around the house. I just said a costume party, as in allowing the child to be herself, to grow up, but not be going outside with this type of stuff. I study childhood education. Didn't I say that before? Pertaining to early childhood education. In college, I study things. All type of things that you study. You study abuse, you study sexual abuse, you study on how to become a child advocate. Which is almost like I'm halfway there myself, becoming a child advocate. Nowhere should this be in public anywhere. Who doesn't know that? Who in their right mind and not even be photographed like that? That not at that age. At least pull a seat up for a child to sit is what I'm trying to say. So you don't know that her private parts are there. Or put some boy shorts on her. Because that's completely inappropriate. Now this sort of thing is a little bit different. This is a different story. I can see her little thing. This is more of a normal type of a what do you want to call it? This is more of a more, I can see even Discovery selling something like this, as in a swimsuit, swimwear, because of the tiger, right? Even that can get carried away animalistic sexually. Could be what that's trying to identify with, and yet it's not, I don't think. But this is more cute because it's a little bit more loose fitting and it's not all hugging all right. I mean, I can see just a little bit, but it doesn't go overboard, right? What else? And it fits right. It fits her body like it's supposed to, not like all these other ones. It's not like I'm trying to be a hater. I am and I'm not. I'm in fact a hater on that. Let me tell you. The further I go, I might start calling out more things. As in what I don't like, as in what I hate. This should be in fact one of those things. This little girl right here, this is more appropriate. You see that? You see where you can vaguely see her private parts and yet you can't? Let me scroll down. This is how you dress a child for fashion. That right there point, you see this red red, the marking right there, that's a stamp right there, pertaining to a receipt too. I meant to say that Walmart usually should have all that on all their receipts. Majority of corporations should start having all this on their receipts, this logo thing right here, because that embeds in their system too, pertaining to what needs to be returned in that. Even in your registering, when you buy stuff from somewhere, a business or whatnot, corporation or whatnot, Walmart, Canon, because I take pictures and I do film all type of stuff, right? Wherever you get stuff, this should be there, because what this does is it helps you register your phone pertaining to even a warranty. This should always be there. You're able to, in fact, take a photo of that, take your phone and take it and snap a shot of the bar. This right here is, in a sense, its own barcode logo, right? Take your camera phone, take a snapshot of this, and then there will be a code you gotta, in fact, press into your phone to send it back to the actual company so that you're registered under warranty. That more than likely should be in existence the longer we go, even with cell phones and all that, right? But this is more appropriate how you should dress a child and swimwear fashion, because see, her private is there, and yet not all the way, because as this start to blow up and lift, it's gonna come back down. I'm saying you can really not see her privates at an angle. This is appropriate somewhat. I don't really like that either. The booby trap. I don't really like that. I don't like, I'm too old fashioned. I think when a child is young, I think a child should stay in a child's place. That's completely appropriate. What she got on is all the way appropriate. It might look old fashioned and yet it's fitting. Because see, grown women be dressing like this, and that's how grown women are. In fact, she's sexy as well. Hey girl. But they should, in fact, I'm saying, and if she gonna be like that, I'm hoping she got a mouth like mine at time and not be all prissy and cute. You want to have some sass, as in when you can tell off somebody and not just be dumb and stupid with makeup, putting it on, looking good and not saying what you feel any time of day. I don't like those type of women. I can't stand them. But say grown women like this, they dress like that, right? And when they dress like that, sometimes they want to take advantage of their child, as in having her do the same, dress the same way. And yet the child could be 2 or 3 years old, or possibly 6, 7, 8 years old. Why would you want to do that? Because to mishandle your child, as in to let her get carried off, and you're not having control of her as she gets older, and you're dressing her too much up like an adult, is to say not only is she going to run over you, but she might in fact fall in line with some prostitution as well. That's what young children do, that when their parents can't control their mouth when they're younger, and then they get older, and then say they pick up the parents' ways of putting on certain stuff and putting on clothes like this, they follow into their mama footsteps. Yes, at even 12 years old. And then they say, oh, well, mama looks like she could prostitute, and she dressing like what we see in the movies, right? And so let me try prostitution at 12, 13 years old, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, which is why I don't like that sort of thing. She's looking a little bit too grown. It's cute, but she's doing the most. She's looking like a full-fledged hooker. And I don't like that either. It's cute. It needs to be done in the house, as an unrecognizable by the outside world. And that's all to be said about that. Her as well. This type of stuff is to be indoors, as in an indoor play. Let's mommy and daughter do makeup, whatever, and we're going to keep this where nobody can see us. Her as well. That's too much on the coverage. That needs to, in fact, be taken off. Because to not take it off is to say be lured out in that, as in a baby snatching baby killer on the market. As in what would come. Because see, some grown men get off on that. They get off on the killing more so than, say, the sexual perverted nature. They'll see a child all dressed up. They'll see a child like it's almost like an animal or something. Let me go back. They'll see a child like her and say, ooh, I sure would love to just chop her head off and eat her. That's a fact. Serial killers and all that other type of stuff are where they can't handle their lust in the form of killing more so than how she looks. It's like they see it as a prey, an animal type of prey, as in the kill, a snatch up and kill. And yet they say, okay, she's cute, but I'm not looking at her face or her body more than anything. In a sexual manner, I'm looking more so at her body, as in where I like to dismember it, as in cut it up. Because see, everything is there to them, as in the exposure on the eyes. To be a serial killer and take something at a glance, as in how it's exposed, as in all the body, is to say you might want to in fact cut that individual up and maybe eat them in the process. How serial killers look at things. I'm saying they could see this young child, see that she's sexually oriented and how she doing stuff, trying to play sexy and cute because somebody done told her to do that, possibly the mother, a loser, maybe, who knows, right? And to say that sort of thing took place, possibly the mother sitting her there and then more than likely showing her off on Facebook, is to know she could be met by pedophiles. Because even pedophilia lives on Facebook. Hell, I was in a group full of pedophiles and didn't even know it. Didn't I say that in one of my first videos? I did not know that was going on. Had to report it. That sort of thing you report. Because you don't want no pedophile getting carried away, seeing children and then starting to think too grown in his mind and then come carry off you. Saying, oh, well, she is cute. I was looking, she didn't know that I was on here in this group looking for kids to kill. But I'm looking at her too. She's attractive. Let me kill her. And throw her body in the waste trash somewhere. But once again, they're all on Facebook, pedophiles everywhere. Pedophiles, in fact, take over Facebook. Let me tell you. But when it comes to, yes, they do. Like vultures, they do. It's to the fact almost FBI can't even get a control of that. Where that's why you shouldn't be putting your children on Facebook dressed all like this and passing it around. Yes, on your own news feed for everybody to see. Pedophiles more than likely are on your friend list and you just don't know that they're there. They could be in a whole different type of, yes, you don't know. It could be somebody adding you on your Facebook and you like, well, I ain't never seen them before. I don't even know where they came from. It's a pedophile up underneath all that want to, yes, possibly look and lure your child or possibly even jack off, and you don't know what's happening to your child's photographs. And yet you add them on because you thinking they're an adult, but they're on there just looking for. FBI got stories. Ask the FBI. Contact them and they'll let you know what's real. How people sit and want to befriend you even on FBI. I mean, not even on FBI, but how people sit on Facebook and want to befriend you on Facebook, and yet they're grown men up underneath that sort of thing. They're wanting to jack off to children pictures. And sometimes not even lure children out of the house. They're just sitting there jacking off on your child's photo. And yet you don't even know they're doing it, and possibly even jacking off where nut is going all over their screen. Phone screen, pad screen, computer screen. What other type of screens do we have access to here in America and even on the outside of America? Grown men do that. They jack off on stuff and be having nut all over the place, possibly on the screen, so that it can meet your child, knowing that they can't get close to that child. But some of them would in fact take the chances. This is ugly as well. Not the baby. The baby is not ugly. The swimsuit is ugly. Out in public, it is in fact ugly. Ugly. All of it. And it needs to be called out. Because she can go in the washroom and go wash her hands with her baby, her child, right? And say, well, let mommy dry my hands. And she go to turn around and the baby is gone. A woman done snatched the baby because a woman couldn't have a baby. And then the woman that snatched the baby is in cahoots with a male, as in that's what they like to do, just snatch up children in the process. And that child might, in fact, after she gets snatched up in the washroom washing her hands, say the grown woman in there washing her hands and a woman come in there and snatch the child. That woman that snatched the child could, in fact, be a baby killer herself, because she might not could, in fact, have kids. And yet to get reckless on even that, as some women like to do, deadly women. There's shows, yes, pertaining to discovery, investigation, discovery, and all the rest, right? In which I spoke of. There's baby killers, even women. That whole animosity because they can't have children, and so they go around seeking other grown women children, and possibly the children of men, and then put the child to death because there's a jealousy of where they can't have kids. I myself would never do that. That is too much responsibility. Have your baby and have them back. And have them in good hands, as in out of reach from me, because that's no. What am I going to do with somebody else's child? Besides scream all day, sit down and shut up, the way that I do my dogs. You need to sit down and shut up. Because that can happen as well, because grown women are known to snatch babies and sometimes not keep those babies, as there are in fact grown women serial killers that do that as well. Snatch a child from somebody because they hate the fact that they can't have kids, and so let me just take out of my anger, yes, brutally, on a woman because I can't conceive. There's serial killers in that. And so why would you see, because see, to have a child like this is to say even that child could be targeted in that by a serial killer. Believe me and trust when I know what I'm speaking on. I do all time of the day of this type of situations, of stuff like that when it happens. Me speaking on women, yes, when they kill other people's babies. Female serial killers. Because see, what they would do is the anger as in, oh, I can't conceive a baby, I can't have a baby, let me take it out on another mother and make her, yes, grieving, as in leave her behind, yes, in sadness of that, right? It's to say, put this mother in grieving. A serial killer woman or something like that, right? Because see, the baby is too cute to begin with. I said that already. But to show this off is to say this points that the mother wanted the child to stay dressed like her, which is why many grown women put their child in swimsuits like this to match them to begin with. It's for the mother to show off, this child is a representation of me, and not only that, look at how cute we can be together. And yet to have a bitter, jealous woman who can't conceive a child see that and follow them into the bathroom, washroom, or whatever you like to call it, and snatch that baby away from the mother with her not being able to look, because some of these mothers walk around and don't pay attention to their kids. That's to say, a serial killer will take that baby and say just to hurt this woman, because they can't, I said it already, just to hurt, and just because the child is too cute. There's sadness in that. People that can't have babies, conceive babies. Some of them be heartbroken about that, and where they can't settle their anger issues and having that together. Kill that baby and say possibly dump the baby somewhere. Could be in an ocean or somewhere. You don't know about that, as in where they would just hide the baby off. And that's too when people say, well, why does Janet Jackson always why would Janet Jackson constantly always carry her son around? Because she don't want that sort of thing to happen. She just not sane. I don't represent Janet Jackson or nobody pertaining to that end, the field game, of where people be like, do you work for Janet Jackson? Did you ever work? Because you're one of the most vocal individuals out of all the people that have been supporting her since way back to begin. And not only that, Janet Jackson in fact visited my city and town where she never visited before. The woman is 50 something years old, right? And so to say you have been a part of something in your past is to say even that, as in where she came to the city and state of where I was born and raised for a reason. There's more up underneath that, in which I don't even say. There are a few haters, as in a loss on your end and possibly mine. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, so when I say that, that's why Janet Jackson carries her baby everywhere in the photos of where she goes. Because to know that your baby could get snatched up despite him being a little boy is to say that sort of thing might await. People snatch up kids for all type of reasons. Jealousy because they can't have a baby. Jealous because a celebrity done had a baby. Jealous because an everyday man and woman has a baby. And they want a child. There's so many reasons of why. People think, well, such and such child more than likely got snatched for sexual purpose, but not all the time. No. There could be jealousy in that. You can't have a child, so you kill the child off. A child that's not yours. That makes a lot of sense. Because what that does is that settle the grieving on your own end, where you can't have a child, right? And so some people, they deal with their emotions differently with that sort of thing. They do. Figuring out what's the worst thing I can do to a person to kill them, to hurt them in the worst way. Which is how animosity stands in that sort of thing. Which is why, yeah, people don't allow their children, but these days they do. And I'm thinking, why would you allow your children to be all type of around all type of anything, and then be in a grocery store and not paying attention to your child while you're walking around? Why would you do that? Giving your child off to somebody and you're not really completely knowing them, despite you say you might do. That's a no-go. I'm thinking even if Khalil would have wanted to hide Relisha in Georgia and her take the swimsuit with her, what's the point in that? Unless say the family has a if Relisha was sent off to Georgia with the family of Khalil by Khalil himself before he killed his wife and himself, right? And maybe Relisha, who knows, right? But to ask that question is to say, well, where and when is the child gonna be putting the swimsuit on in Georgia? When and why? Where at? Because see, to know you need a swimming pool pertaining to a swimsuit is to know Relisha could be found in public, and yet where? I don't think at no city pool. Then that's to say that possibly Khalil's mother or father or whoever family he sent the child off to has to have a swimming pool somewhere, even in the backyard. Because even I'm thinking the child's mother didn't have or own a swimming pool, because remember, the child mother was staying at a shelter. A shelter, and I don't mean a children's shelter or anything like that. So if the child was sent off by Khalil himself to go stay somewhere, Relisha go stay somewhere, then where was she staying at with this swimsuit to go with it? And not only that, where was a cabin? Not in Atlanta, but police, FBI, when they did their research as well pertaining to Relisha, and when they said something about there was a cabin, as in Khalil himself had owned cabins, which is why I'm thinking he delved in drug, as in the drug profit or something. Khalil, because he had different cars that was found at the motel after he died or something, but he also had owned a cabin or rented one out or something like that. Those sort of things, in fact, take money, wouldn't you think? Money. So the suspect bought Relisha a swimsuit, supposedly prior to them staying at the motel. This, I don't understand that. Okay, wait a minute. Let me go back. He took her to a swim party at the Holiday Inn. So that closes that up for me. That closes up the gap. Good thing I researched to see, because I'm like, what? I was trying to see, like, that's why I'm saying it helps to look up stuff for yourself. What is this? This is WJZ 13 CBS Baltimore. This is their local news. And so when I read that, let me go down. That in fact just closed up the gap, as in there was no loop on that. Where is the information at? Because see, I'm like, what is the use of a swimwear for a child? Maybe somebody stated that in the comment section. Didn't I just see that with my own two eyes? Because see, a swimming takes place with all this. Swimming completely takes place with all this. It has to. It's the child's story. And yet, did she ever swim at any time of the day, even while Khalil was dead? A swimsuit. It's questionable. And it could be where all ties together. Who knows? I'm saying the swimsuit could tie all together, as in solve. A solve and resolve of whether the child is dead or if she's still alive. Because see, to look at it as an angle, I know I can be a genius sometimes. And yet sometimes when I don't put everything that I think there is because it's not enough time. Hell, if the question me, I question stuff all day at all angles. And yet to do that is to say we might be here all day, we might not, right? I'm saying I have other stuff that I'll be doing as well. But I can be questioning mystery to the day I die. Didn't I say that before? Because see, a swimsuit stands out more than anything. It tells a direction as into where you were going. Even in that. And possibly dead or alive, as in the location, as into where you go to find somebody. A swimsuit. A swimsuit. See, a swimsuit. That I'm thinking. That's something you wear when you get into water. I'm thinking if he would wanted to kill her, I don't think he would have her lay down and then he drown her in a swimsuit. That's too much. That is too much work. And so, let me think. I can't really go off a lipstick alley, no. They would hate me over there as well. I like to stay more. I mean, you can find useful information when it comes to places, say random sources and stuff like that, right? I went to college in which that's not to say whatever, right? Sometimes people think, well, you went to college, so you think it must be better. No, that's not to say. College would, in fact, school, period, would tell you to go in the direction of the right sources. And sometimes you got to use your street skills in that, as in just going on foot, going anywhere, searching outside of college stuff with information, looking for information, research, right? I go everywhere looking, right? A lipstick alley may or may not be one of those places, right? But sometimes people get to carried away to throwing in false information, which is why sometimes I tend to stay where there's the real resource, as in the source itself, as in not drifting too far away, as in the actual the communication issue of, say, you're going outside resources. Yes, outside resources outside of the news, such as, ABC or NBC or, stuff like that. Those are real live resources, right? But sometimes they don't have all the information in which you need, which is why you got to get on foot, be a street individual like me or other individuals that's on here that bring me stuff, right? But in that, you got to make sure it's right. Somewhat. I'm very peculiar at that because remember, I'm carrying Discovery's logo. And yet they're not always right with stuff. They're not always completely precise. We're all humans, as in we're bound to make fuck ups in a sense, right? But you want to be almost precise as you can get with that. I'm saying because at any time of the day, even in me saying this, with that Discovery, even any of that pertaining to the news and all that, is to say you might want to say Discovery when I take this and say do the submission aspect pertaining to upload and all this other stuff, cutting out that needs to stay, that needs to not, and then make it into TV film for Discovery to air or something like that on the Discovery Channel, which is why I always mention the link and all that. You want to be precise as you can get to making a TV show. You don't want something in there that included some possibly gossip of something that can't go into a TV show. It can, because all this is Hollywood. It can, but on my end, I wouldn't want that. No, not even with discovery of, well, such and such possibly said, right? Such and such may have said, well, along the gossip, such and such. I really don't. I try to pull out some truth in that. If there is some gossip, I try to pull out what is resourceful as in a source of truth of that. Let me dissect if that's a fact, because if it's not, I can't put that in there. That's not going to go on anybody's TV show, not even Discovery. Discovery do all type of things. That's the point, right? But on my end, I don't. That helps spice up stuff. It does. It makes shows better when you put in gossip and all that other stuff, and yet that has to be done as in guided, directed a certain way. If you're going to be using gossip on a television, yes, show, network, anything, Discovery, right? Because that it poses problems. Going down to yes, hello, dear Georgia. I might in fact have to get put on with CNN as well. Does that go against my non-disclosure as an agreement, as in who you can do stuff with and for and why, when you're already with one corporate on being on their level, right? There's a contracting agreement in that, as in what you can and can't do with other corporations when you're already under one corporation. Some people don't know that. There's a clause for that. And so a corporation will in fact have you on a lockout in slavery, in which I stand under, yes, Discovery on their end. I'm enslaved. And I don't mean sex slave. I mean when somebody owns you on the corporate level, when you give them stuff and now it's theirs, right? I'm in fact owned. They're owned. They're Harper. That's Oprah Winfrey, right? But yeah. To point in the direction of a swimsuit is to ask what location. Didn't I ask that before? Where at? Could it be anywhere in Maryland? Seeming that Khalil supposedly had a cabin in Maryland, as police FBI stated. That's why when I say stuff, the gossiping aspect, that's why I say I question. Instead of saying if I think, because see, a lot of this comes from my own thinking. Not all of it, right? You got to research in that. Not of it comes from my own thinking. But when I say I think, which means I am in fact thinking, right? Pertaining to that sort of thing, as in where a gossip or somebody, a spread of gossip didn't take place in that, right? I don't know. I like stuff precise. I'm a truth seeker. A truth seeker. Gossip sometimes, I said that. Gossip already sometimes contains truth, but yet in what way? Is it gossiping just to tear down a person and yet there's no value in the information there? Or is it gossip to point you to somewhere? You got to be able to know the difference between the two. That in itself, the gossip is at what does it serve? Is it informing me of something? And what is the intention of this person informing me? Because depending on their intention is to say I may or may not use that information, depending on the intention. Yes, from the beginning. What does it serve? Does it help out in something? Does it not? And so to do that, yes, with Discovery or anything, that's how I do anything. If I'm going to work in mass media, I was looking at, sorry, you can't see him, but I was looking at Elton John right here. He's talking about AIDS. But if I'm going to be working in even mass media for a celebrity, that as well, as in how you do stuff on a dotted line, how I like to do stuff. Even in a gossip, there's a certain way, because see, that has to be controlled. The flow of the conversation, even as the public is reading it, and stories like this type of stuff, I can actually do. And possibly have, and yet I won't say even in that. The telling aspect, because people be hating. There's so many haters. Fall dead, and even that, they're haters, right? And so when I say what I say, I mean even that. But pertaining to even this sort of thing, putting a story together, it all has to be orchestrated for the public's eyes, as in when you put something in there and then you go with it on the footing, the story I'm saying, and then you string another story behind that with the footing of your own footing, right? It all has to be orchestrated before, as in the packaging before, as in the way. And sometimes you say things gentle and sometimes not. Even CNN, Fox News, all of them, right? Some people don't understand that, the orchestration behind that. Hell, even the Bill Cosby case itself had to have a stringing along factor, meeting the public eyes in the news, as in there's a orchestration process in that, as in how you feed the public stories pertaining to mass media and celebrities represent a celebrity. That's funny. Representing a celebrity, right? There's orchestration, right? Illuminati. I'm laughing and yet I'm not. Dear Chris Brown. Dear Chris Brown. Let me go up right quick. I just got lost. All this has to be orchestrated before. You can't just drop a plate of food on the table and say, here it is. It could be waste, anything, trash. And yet it is, pertaining to, say, Bill Cosby. That's not me saying Bill Cosby. I'm not saying that. I'm saying people would in fact say, oh, that's trash news. It is in fact real life news. But it is in fact trash, as in if that sort of thing has taken place, such as a sex offender type of stuff, right? As in the individual, many would want to call Bill Cosby trash. I didn't say that, but I'm just saying how the public will view that. So that has to be orchestrated, because if it's not, it can in fact get out of line. And possibly even more likely stab Bill Cosby himself in the back. The telling aspect of what you know, what you don't know, what you say, what you don't say, even in the clause, even me, myself, as in what I can't say. When I said a slave, being a slave to corporations, and what even I know pertaining to, say, Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby has always been himself. You just don't know it. That's all I can say about that. He's always been himself. Which is weird that the public has found out later, and that's what happens when you keep secrets, as in knowing how to keep secrets and when to tell them. I need to see something. Let me pause right quick. Hold on. I'm gonna call tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna call. Put that in. Oops. Maybe I shouldn't change that. See, I like the human aspect. Discovery. Dear Discovery. Discovery is like a brand. I'm saying a brand baby. It's a fact a brand, but I'm saying it's like its own child. Discovery. Pause. You're gonna hear what I gotta say once I put this in. What time was I gonna call at 4:30? Is it 26 tomorrow? That's in there. Let me see. I gotta make sure that's not right. Where'd it go? But Discovery itself is it is in fact is I can't type in text. Discovery is in fact, we know that it's its own brand, but what I was trying to say is its own baby. How when people say, oh, that's my baby, how when they start a business and they just get going or they just get off, whatever, right? Pertaining to them doing a business, or say having an album, how you hear a singer or celebrity say that was my baby, right? That album is in fact my baby, how you nurture something or something like that. It's the same with Discovery, which is why I had to get with them in the first place, right? Because see, to say you love branding and marketing is to show and represent how it's done as in the right way, despite my demeanor and me sitting here talking. But with that, it's to say that a child is involved in the brand, despite it. That's funny. Despite Discovery selling and sometimes losing sales pertaining to the mass murder and serial killers and all that investigation Discovery, right? You might in fact lose views on that, right? And murder, where people tune out. They don't want to see that, but they want to see that. They don't want to see that, and they want to see that, right? And so that's to still say you still got a baby on your hands, as in the brand, just like a business. Well, that business is my baby. That business, whatever, that I just started, a book, and the book was my baby, right? You hear celebrities say it all the time. When they do projects and stuff. So, Discovery is in fact a brand baby. And all has to be orchestrated with that. Any of these people, it all has to be orchestrated before it goes on the TV screen. You are in fact looking at a TV screen. On YouTube, when I said that. But to go on Google is to say you're looking at a TV screen as well. Hell, why is it there? To search up something with a keypad and then be looking at it as to search on Google and look up something on use a keypad to punch in something, whether you're on a computer or you're on a Mac or you're on whatever, a phone or an iPad, whatever. It's to say once you get done typing up something on Google to search it out through the keypad, it's to look at the screen. That's to know that you're in fact looking at a TV screen. Most people don't think that far. You're in fact looking at TV. And yet, where did that ideal come from? Possibly from ancient Egypt. People don't know that. Because see, look, to take this cursor, do you see my cursor moving? I'm a little bit too bright, mind, on the bright side of life sometimes. Dear Discovery. To see this cursor moving right here as I'm moving it around is to say that is in fact a cursor, right? But then when I go down on the page like this, it's to say I am now scrolling. I'm scrolling. I'm moving down on the page via scroll. And yet, where does the terminology scroll come from? It in fact more likely comes from ancient Egypt, as in the scrolls. This phone's about to drive me nuts. That's to say that the terminology scroll more than likely have came, and all this points back to mass media as well. See how I tie it all in together? Because to scroll on something is to say a story is involved, even with celebrities and even with TV. You're looking at me on the TV screen, that being the screen itself, right? But scrolls had to come from somewhere. I'm about to scroll some photographs right now in Google. I'm going to scroll some ancient Egyptian scrolls. So these are in fact scrolls. Remember, they're on a wall, right? These scrolls are in fact on a wall, and yet where do they come from? They're ancient Egyptians. Ancient Egypt, right? The ancient Egyptians are there and all that, right? The detail. And so to know that I'm now scrolling down, as in I just looked at a picture, is to know that's where that term come from, the scroll. But not only does a scroll come from that, the terminology, scrolling something, that's to say this is in fact a wall. The design I'm saying of which it was on in ancient Egypt. That's in fact a science itself, as in where I'm guiding you along in that. Hopefully you're listening as in paying attention. Open your eyes to the resolution of where it stands out of what I just said. This all points back to TV, you just don't know it. As in it's not being said. Dear triangle, dear all-seeing eye, dear all-seeing eye, possibly Illuminati, and more. And which I ain't saying, right? That's possibly why I'm hidden. You never know, I might be found dead. Dear Illuminati, and even that, as in it's telling too much detail of where even this fits in with the TV screen, and yet the public doesn't even know that. Discovery does. Okay, so this right here, I just scrolled down, didn't I? I showed you in resolution style of me scrolling down. I scrolled through some pictures. So to me, to scroll with a scroll is to say that's yes, where the terminology came from, the scroll aspect. But also, this in fact is where the TV screen, more than likely the visualization of the TV screen came from, such as the ideal. Because where does this imprint right here stand? It stands on a wall. Have you ever considered that even Facebook has a wall? Every time you post a message for everybody to see, you see where I'm going with this? The tying together aspect. Facebook, in fact, they consider that a wall every time you post stuff and post photographs. And yet you're posting stuff in text form. And yet this right here is in drawing form, but it's still in text form. That's to say that's where text messaging came from as well. Ancient Egyptian ideals. The going back to go in reverse is to go forward. Didn't I say that? Nothing in life is new. Nothing has ever been new. You'll just all recycle old ideals. So to repeat history is to say that's where we're standing in 2018. The text messaging, the Facebook, the Instagram, the TV screen, all that has came from this. And yet nobody's saying and nobody's telling, and yet I am. Because I'm a bold character just enough to say. Having artwork and doing artwork, somebody was inspired by that just enough to go create a TV screen and match visuals with that, such as what you're seeing, live pictorial images, and yet they're in motion, so that's to call it TV, as well as film, such as motion pictures moving. And yet there's cartoonists in that, as in when you lay pictures side by side, draw them out, whatever, put it back together, however you do it, and flash through it, right? Illustration of photos and all that other stuff. That in fact creates, yes it does, it creates cartoons. How it meets the public eye on the television screen. All those sort of ideals in fact come from this. Ancient Egypt. Dear Illuminati, hello. Tell them they bet not. Tell Illuminati they bet not be standing awaiting my existence once I meet that front door. Listen to me, when I stand on this camera and say I don't make another video, possibly for a few days or a few years, that's to possibly say Illuminati has gotten me. There's no laughter in that. I don't play with those type of people. I don't play with them. Certain things are real. The type of people you don't want to play with, even in me revealing the secret of what I know, or where even TV came from. It came from all this. It has. I should have kept that a secret. I don't know. I might lose my life by the time I end this video out. That is so sad, and it would be on my end. To be given the privilege to use discovery as a platform is to say I can teach just enough. And teach it well. Do a good deed to society. All this points in with celebrities and all that. It does, the scrolling aspect, right? Because see, some of these ancient Egypt, the pharaohs and all that, that's to represent a celebrity in nature as well. As even them leaving their imprint behind on print. In the form of fashion, a scroll, as in you're able to see them even when they're dead and gone years later. Us standing in 2018 and us being able to see pharaohs and all that being celebrities even back then of how they look today on print, on a scroll. That's what Beyonce and all the rest of them is doing today, and even Janet Jackson and the rest of them, Oprah Winfrey as well. History repeats itself. You heard it here first, or possibly everywhere else, but you didn't hear that. This is all, yes, all this right here. That in fact points to like a Bill Cosby, J-Lo, P. Diddy. All that points to mass media stories. The imprint of how you do journalism and you feed the public stories and them never forgetting. And you're placing objects there too while you're doing it. They just don't know. Remember, I say any and everything on my mind any time of the day. even pertaining to any of these celebrities. What other celebrities want to work with me? Let me know. Hit me up and don't put it in the comment section. Please don't. And don't put it on Twitter. Don't put it on Facebook, because I don't want no stalkers to happen with that. As in, people lying. Well, I know such and such. People do that to me too. I know such and such celebrity when they don't. They don't know any of those people. Because all it takes is a phone call on my end to press up and call to find out. And I don't mean press charges as in trying to see. Oh, dear Bill Cosby. Because see, somebody lied to me about that and I found out. They said, when they said that they tried to get me to get them signed to a major label. And they said that they knew somebody at Universal. And so I was asking them, well, why would you need me? If you knew somebody and you're trying to get whatever deal or distribution deal or however, or a hologram with that, why would you in fact need me if you already knew somebody at Universal to begin with? I already knew that that was a lie. I see all through types of lies. Let me tell you. Because it's a backstabbing industry. You got to always watch your back. And I always do. Even when I'm up at night, people think that I'm asleep. I'm watching my back. Because I don't know. He literally told me. I could tell you all type of stories on this camera, and yet I choose not to. This individual lied and told me that he knew this one, particular individual, right, at Universal, because he wanted a major record deal, and yet he can't rap or sing or none of the rest. He can't even, what some people, black folks, say cracker tap. I don't call white folks that, but they might in fact call me a NIGG, whatever, right? But I call people how I see them, or however they see me. But you said you wanted a dear. I'm posting this for you to see. You said you wanted. Yes, he's in fact on my Facebook, and he tried to do this way back. That was like 2009, 2010. He in fact did that. Gave me his album, whatever. Told me for me to give me, for me to give him one of my albums. What type of shit? That's crazy. He's in fact on my Facebook today. He might in fact try that sort of thing, which is why I gotta put this video on there. Because it say, if I am who I am with, then why would I need you? And why would you need me? That's where I caught the lie. Don't do nothing random like that. That's a petty joke on his end. That is in fact a flawed piece. Because he had me. That don't make sense. Oh my gosh. That completely don't make sense. He gave me one of his CDs and told me to give me one of my CDs to him, so that possibly I can put him onto Universal because I'm in connection with Universal, right? That is off the hook. But he was going to try to show to me, as in he was going to represent something on my end by giving my CD disc to the individual that he knew at Universal. What type of sense does that make? It was off. The playing field was off. As soon as I got the CD from him, I knew it was off. I knew it was completely off, as in that's a shady individual on his end, as in when he tried to do that. He's in fact in the family. He is. By blood. That needs to be said, as in it was called. And a call out. Why would he use Universal? Because the individual that I in fact am in contact with, remember, people have best friends, all kinds in which they don't say, and they have been for years, 19, 20 years. And yet this individual, yes, the best friend individual, right? Her cousin married, first cousin, somebody that is a famous celebrity. Yes, famous. Been to Michael Jackson house and everything. God is my witness. Right? And so, with the connection in with that, there was another major artist and I am in fact in connection with, pertaining to Universal. Right? And so this individual did that because of that. My connection. As in them trying to throw me off with something, and yet I could see all the way through that. Why would you try to use... And not only that, see, that don't make sense. I'm used to knowing how to deal with celebrity contact and stuff, and yet not everybody is, as in they wouldn't know what to do with it. Didn't I say that before? Which is why I constantly keep coming into contact with people that's family, people, friend, of yes, somebody I was friends for, yes, damn near 20 years. Yes, so the celebrity nature of what you do and what you don't do, and how you treat people and how you mistreat people and how you don't, right? That's why people can't make the connection with celebrity people. They don't know what to do with these sort of things, as in the opportunity, as in when they get them, and in a safekeeping and how to keep something. I said that as well. Because see, just because you know celebrities, or you keep in touch with celebrities, or you contact celebrities, or you work for a celebrity, don't mean that you take, say, their name or something or whatever, and use it in the mean of using that to go off on people or something like that. And yet sort of people do that. They take other people, say the connections, if they even have a celebrity cousin in the family, they will go off on people with that sort of thing, as in not using it precisely. To go off the way that I do is to say I'm doing it right, and yet some people do it wrong. They might get on people's stuff and be doing all type of crazy stuff, even with a logo, or even with Oprah Winfrey face, be doing all type of stuff. That's why some people are not in the industry. They don't know how to use people's stuff and use it precisely, as in you get whatever you get, as in you're placing yourself there as an opportunity. You give as well as they give. There's a give and take in all this. To gain is to get something back, right? That's what I'm trying to say. And yes, some people don't do stuff right. They do mistreatment, as in they will take a logo and just do all type of stuff with it. Stupid stuff. A celebrity face do stupid stuff, as in them never having, say, opportunity to work on any projects that have involved that celebrity. I'm saying people do type of stuff. They do all type of stuff, even gruesome stuff, right? Which is why they're not given that opportunity, which is why they will come to an individual like me and call me out and get pissed off because I had the opportunity. I can work for Bill Cosby any time of the day, despite him being a sex offender, because more than likely I will ask him behind the scenes, Bill, why did you do this? Why did you do this? Why did you say that? Why would you? Matter of fact, I will work for Bill on the end of his court, putting out everything that was pertaining to the sex offending and why you should never do it, as in the learning aspect behind that. And set Oprah Winfrey nearby somewhere so even the public can understand that you don't do that sort of thing. You're hurting people in the process of that, and possibly grown women. If some of these women, because some of these women were in fact out to get his money, killed Bill Cosby, but they're still learning into that as an invasion of privacy, where somebody don't want something and you give it to them anyway. That's to say that you feel like you're too big for them, as in they're a nobody when you're doing that. I would have in fact asked Bill Cosby and told him, yes, worked on the team for him despite him being a sexual offender, to check even Bill Cosby, because even he needs to be checked, as in a told off, despite him being a grown man. And I have in fact admired Bill Cosby for years on end as a child. Who hasn't? He represented the black household despite sometimes a father not being there, which was why he was there to begin with. Many children such as you and I, the viewer, if you got brown skin like Bill Cosby, he in fact represented a father figure in which so many black and brown kids didn't have. And so to tell him off and even work for him is to do it all the way, as in what I would have did. Even in representing him as an attorney, Bill Cosby, I would have myself, the law aspect, I know the law as well, as in saying and going to court and all that. I have in fact helped to represent an individual in court myself, 2 individuals to be precise. But the way that you do stuff, I would have represented Bill Cosby being his attorney to tell him, no, sorry, Bill, you gotta in fact, when we drop the ball, or whoever done dropped the ball on your end, we gotta in fact pick it up and face some time, even if you gotta do something as in a no jail breaking, as in you gotta abide by the law, even a citizen, despite you being a celebrity, because you harmed some innocent women in this. You got to face some time, even if you face it in your four walls of your house, as in a monitor bracelet. Because see, that man is a little bit too old to be going to jail, but he still need to go despite him being a celebrity. But death could even stand in that, so put him in confinement, and yet he got enough money, taxpayer money and all that. Bill done, see, a lot of these celebrities don't end up going to jail and serving time because they done already paid their way off. When people say, well, celebrities, what make them so different from the public? It's not that they're a celebrity in a status completely. It's the fact that how much money they already pay in taxes. They done already paid off their stay is what I'm trying to say. To make that much money, to be a millionaire, because some people don't know how much these celebrities make. To be a Bill Cosby and say you done made $1 million this year, pertaining to some TV show or something, right? Or possibly more, but let's keep it at $1 million. If Bill Cosby registered in and made $1 million, yes, this year in 2018, it's to say tax money has to come out of that. So more than likely, the tax money he gonna have to pay in taxes so that the IRS don't hit him off is to say he might pay maybe $400,000 or possibly $500,000 in a tax. So by the time he get done paying that, he done paid for his stay. Because remember, that man is not paying just this year in taxes. He's been paying since he's been on the Cosby Show and everywhere else afterwards. Bill Cosby and all these celebrities paying their taxes. They pay a lot more in percentage of taxes than you and I, the viewer, do. They pay a whole lot more in taxes. Some of these people pay $500,000 in taxes a year, depending on how much money they make. Let me tell you, if I win the lottery tomorrow, that's got to come out in taxes. If I let me see, win the lottery, what else? If I go and say, let me see, if I win the lottery, if I become a celebrity tomorrow, myself, I'm saying, and I start making $1 million a year or something like that, 500, somewhere around that, 300,000, 380,000, up to 500,000 must be in fact taken out in taxes. It has to. It has to. That's by state law and everywhere else, right? So to pay that much, me, possibly in taxes, being a celebrity or something, is to say I already paid my way out of jail. I did. And that I'm saying, Bill Cosby paid out his way, as in a stay of why he's not in jail. He already paid it in taxes. That's why many of them don't go to jail. And yet this is in fact hush information on my end of why I'm saying why am I saying what I'm saying? I just went around in a circle. Look at that face. He in fact looked like a prune. Dear Bill Cosby, wake up, dear child. You gotta in fact question what happened to Bill Cosby's past as well. Why would he want to do that to them females like that? Drug them and then have sex with them, because there's no fun in that. Drugging somebody just to stick a grown man's peenie weenie there inside of a woman, that shouldn't feel good or nothing. That's not right. Because that's to say she's a little bit too loose once she's drugged up all the way and then she black out or something. Come on, Bill, you're messing up. I might need to in fact make a video, because see, Bill Cosby, most people don't know that, the public, how Bill Cosby can get really pissed off himself. He can. Bill Cosby can become a very angry man and go off on his personal assistants and all that other stuff and get to screaming and shouting and all that. And I don't mean in the form of the Holy Ghost. But yet, what if I did that, made a shout out to Bill Cosby and sent the video to his team of people just so that they can see it? I might in fact have to do that. Because yeah, Bill is completely guilty and he knows, right? And yet sometimes you can do too much. Bill knew right there he was a naughty boy. Bill was trying to tell you that back then. Everybody that knew Bill knew that he was in fact a naughty boy back then. It's trying to let you know. It's in the photo, the same, the trace aspect. Man, oh man. Human beings and the way they like to do things in quiet. the persona of what you didn't know. And so, yep, I will be Bill Cosby attorney, allow him to know that, look, you're going to in fact serve some time, Bill. Even if it's in your house or wherever, seeming you done already paid your way off and out of jail, you gotta serve somewhere. That has to take place. That gives justice back to the victims. And that will be that. Because see, you can love even a Bill Cosby and yet tell him where he's wrong. You can. People do it every day. Family, I do it with my family. You can tell them, you know what, you were wrong. I was wrong. We all was wrong. And yet you gotta serve something with that, or something. Something has to be done in that, because see, that's not right. Because see, you don't, and the reason why I'm saying that, because you don't know whose emotions might in fact be broken behind all this. The position of a grown man drugging women and then putting his body on top of them to take advantage. You don't know what women behind the scenes, where their emotions are in fact broken in that. And they could possibly be lost, as in the damage is done and it's there. And that's why if I knew of Bill Cosby personally, I would let him see the light of day, as in telling him what needs to be fixed and what needs to be changed in that. The lying aspect and the covering of this, of the journalism aspect, because covering a celebrity is all journalism too, where they do stuff and then you cover them. Michael Jackson as well, if he would have did anything. Any one of these individuals working for anybody or saying whatever, you tell them where they're wrong. Because if you don't tell them, sooner or later it's going to get out of line, as in it's going to get worse. And then by then they might in fact end up dead, being put away in a jail, rotting off in a jail cell, or possibly even either one of these women killing them brutally. As in, no, Bill, I don't want it, and yet you're forcing yourself anyway, and yet I told you from the beginning I didn't want it, so I gotta kill you, dear Bill Cosby. That's why you tell people that. It's a preventive nature. I go by the form of tough love, because I said I'm old school to begin with. Who would want to touch that? Is she gay now? Because she completely looks it. That's not to say nothing bad. That is not to say anything bad about the woman, but to recognize is to call out even that. She looked good back in her day. She did. But something done changed about her. She was somewhat cute back then. That's her right there. So I practice tough love in the details and what I need to say to individuals like this, if I know them personally, and me telling them that way it doesn't get out of hand, or say where something in fact gets there. And sometimes maybe it might need to, somebody killing you off because you keep taking advantage, drugging the girls. That's to say even God might be found in that. You never know, dear Bill. You gotta act right over there. If you want a career to survive, yes, it's fine to do whatever you want to do, but at the same time, when you're hurting innocent victims such as women, because see that, the reason I'm saying that, because Bill Cosby, this could have in fact trickled over to molesting young kids, which is why it has to be said as in called out. Me on my end saying it. This sort of thing, and that could have too have infected their marriage. This is his book, Love and Marriage. That could have trickled over into their marriage. Or say Bill Cosby being later found out to say had molested young children or something. That sort of thing you would want to prevent by keeping your hands off of all women and possibly children. Because to have something like that is to say that your career is completely over, as in a stall out. Grown people can take you, say, raping or molesting grown people. Grown people can take that, but that's one thing they cannot take is children being molested. That's the end of your career. That's why Michael Jackson more than likely is dead. The livelihood of his end is why Michael Jackson is in fact say dead. Outside of illnesses, he in fact had health illnesses and all the rest. Yes, but to get involved and say be around children and say somebody lies on you the way that they did and yet nobody really completely know, I don't think Michael Jackson did that. I don't. And yet who's to say on my end? I allow the view to leave the floor open on that, because everybody has their own decision as in being in right mind. Individual saying, well, I think Michael Jackson did that. Well, I don't think Michael Jackson did that, right? So, and you're saying that that's still to say he was around the wrong people to begin with, such as children, allowing them to be in his bedroom and all that other stuff. That's a no. Being a grown man, if that child is not yours, because anything could lead to a Michael. That's just not him. That's a grown man, period. That's to say that a grown man could become too sedated and say get the fondling on a child. I'm not saying Michael Jackson. I'm saying anybody sedated, because see, people that are sedated get to making the wrong choices to begin with anyway. Being sedated up under drugs and using them too much and then going too far, touching a child and fondling a child, and you might not even realize that that is in fact a child. Talk to people that get too high on drugs. That's not me, one of those sort of individuals that get too high on drugs, right? And how they do stuff and how they interact with people and how they go too far in doing stuff. Some people have in fact jumped off of bridges, jumped in front of trains, lost their lives in all type of ways of, say, killing themselves and killing other people because they were too far gone on a drug. And that's to say that even molestation can stand in that, even a charge. Being too sedated, as in you're not being able to handle your right decisions in that, and you say possibly fondling on a child and you're not being fully aware, knowing that you're doing it as it's happening, because the drug has you so zoned out that all you see is a face that's there, and it could be a woman, that might not, a grown woman, or it could be a child, and you just don't know, because even voices with that, you're hearing somebody talking and yet the voice is warped out, because you're so sedated on a drug. And so that's why I say that I don't think that Michael Jackson did it, but who knows, because to be too sedated is to not know. He would, to be too sedated. For an individual to be too sedated, even a Michael Jackson himself, is to say you might not have control of your body to begin with. That's why people use drugs. That's why you shouldn't use drugs, and not too much of letting people put you to sleep and wake you up with a drug sedated process. Or popping pills or something, Demerol and all that other stuff you don't want to do, because you don't know the percentage of, as in what the doctor is giving you, completely enough for you to zone out, make your way over to a child, possibly fondle him or molest him, not knowing that it's a boy or a girl, and not even knowing if it's a child. Attention span has to be there with that, as in well as recognition. But if you're too drugged up and drugged out, you ain't gonna know either which way, which is how some people once again die while they're drugged up. They don't know what's taking place any time of the day. You have people that lay out in the middle of the road and be killed by a car because they're so drugged up they don't even know where they're at. Walk out in traffic because they so drunk and get struck by a semi truck or a car because they don't know where they're at because they're too high. That stuff in fact take place. And that's not to look at Michael Jackson. It's not to look at him like that. But that's to say a possibility of any kind. And even Bill himself. Nobody really knows whether Bill was fully awake or even on drugs then. Or even in today. Bill Cosby himself might in fact be using a drug substance to escape real life. Nobody knows. And yet to come back to life, as in a real life, facing your problems, as in what you done did, is to say yes, go to court, which has happened. We don't know the identity of this man drugging or all that Bill Cosby pertaining to even his whereabouts, as in where he was in the mindset, the head, as he was doing stuff to these women. He might in fact have been on drugs of any kind, and possibly could have been doing Quaaludes, the drugs he used on the women, or the Spanish fly and all that other stuff. He could have been taking sips of whatever that, and I don't mean the coke he's holding in his hand. Bill could have been taking anything, sitting amongst them women and taking advantage of them while he was doing it. Now he got to face himself and all that. That's what happens. You got to fess up on that, dear Bill. Because even power stands in being a celebrity, knowing that you can do something and get away with it, right? And then repercussions come later, or maybe not. Some celebrities is walking amongst us and you don't know that they have in fact committed crimes. You just don't know it. Celebrities of all kinds. They do all type of stuff. Let me tell you. And then to have a celebrity in the family. She's a good girl though. Yes, she is. She's a good girl. There's many of them that in fact are, right? Who have celebrities in their family? Wait a minute. Let me go back. Hold on. Didn't I just see that? Oh, right here, Rudy. I think she appeared at the courtroom with him too. But yeah, celebrities, they get away with stuff. Because usually the more money you have, the more farther you are able to travel and doing stuff like that, getting away with stuff. There she is right there, going to court with him as a support. It's to say you got money, you done paid all this money in your taxes, and now you're not going to serve jail, and that's why. I think this woman is so fine. That's in fact the truth. Bill Cosby attorney, she was no joke. I was looking at her more than I was looking at him, because I was like, man, hold on. Presley was the name. Monique Presley. She is a lovely face. I think that's all, because I can't really figure out what I was going to say pertaining to the swimsuit. Maybe I'll come back on that. That woman right there, she got a beautiful... I don't even get into faces like that. And yet I would get in on hers. Not in a beating style, no. Man, some of these individuals that be... Hold on. I was like, who is that? That is in fact the truth. Because... I don't know. That's a bad individual right there. Yes, it is. She is no joke. To be an attorney and all that other stuff, and the more likely the reason why she stopped representing Cosby is because, first off, this woman is a full-fledged Christian. There's no way she was gonna be able to continue to sit. I'm saying, because see, now that Bill has been found guilty, more than likely, as she was searching through his case, she more likely was able to see through that, as in Bill Cosby's lies and the representation of where she no longer wanted to serve, right? That could have in fact did some damage on the end of her career. That's her right there. She is so beautiful. She is. Why would I lie about that? So that's to say that if you're a full-fledged Christian and you're representing a man and you're starting to see in the case that, okay, this man is going to be found guilty. There's only so much, because the crack has been in fact exposed, such as the crack itself. Not my ass, but Bill Cosby's, right? That's a joke, and yet it's not. And so the attorney, her, more than likely start to see through that. As in, no, I got to get off of this case, because not only am I a full-blown Christian, me representing this man, not only that, I in fact have a group. She in fact runs some type of group, ministry group. As in, you can have access to that on her Twitter and all the rest. But not only that, she represents the Christian community on top of that. And so to be representing a man that is a sexual offender, such as this woman, being all that, having her own ministry, such as church, she runs all that, as in have her own ministry church. That's what she does. To represent even him and that, knowing that he's guilty, is to say she's going to have to walk away. Because see, that can in fact kill her career off. And so to move away from that is to, yes, detach from that, as in to excommunicate with that. Her leaving off of that. And she should have. Because see, no Christian is in their right mind is gonna wanna be looking up to her, knowing that they got young kids around even her, and she running a ministry. Man, she fine. Goodness gracious. And so they ain't gonna want to have their child around her or their young daughters knowing that she represents that, pertaining to the church matter and all of that. That's why she more than likely have left. I can't speak for her. See, she says that he's not guilty right there. That was like in the beginning. But that your career is completely on the line with that. The chances you take, as in putting yourself in a circle with people that commit crimes like this, as in the damage it will play on your end. Yes. And more than likely, he's scum of the earth. R. Kelly. I like him somewhat. I like him because my father liked him, right? But the stuff that he do, more than likely, he wanted to hire her so he can possibly get in her pants. Trust and believe that might come out later. With R. Kelly, the intention of him wanting to get next to ladies such as a Powerball as her. He more than likely want to do that so he can get in her pants, because R. Kelly is known to do all type of things that even you, the viewer, don't know about. The secrecy aspect of what R. Kelly himself do when he try to get next to women and use and take advantage of them with that sort of thing. But yeah, Monique had to get off of that. And more than likely, she's still in connection. See, I haven't been up to date, so I could be wrong about this. Like I said, I can't speak for her, and I could be wrong about this. But I'm guessing and betting that's why she left. And she's not going to say. Possibly never in life. Because she possibly as in grew up looking at Bill Cosby like so many of us have as a child. And that's possibly why she served for him. Growing up, seeing somebody that you admire on TV say, you know what, this man is not guilty. And then you say, let me go represent him. And then you start to see more later, like, okay, this is not right. This ain't right. No, this ain't right. And not only that, at the end of all this, I might in fact be dragged in that. Right? And so, for me not to have that happen, my career, because remember, to have a career is to eat off of one, is to say just get off of it, the case, and leave it there, to stand itself, to stand alone itself. And I'm thinking Monique did that. Sexual harassment. Yeah. R. Kelly. More than likely, he's going to go after her, and you might hear about that later on. R. Kelly's thirst for women and what he liked to do with them and all that other stuff, and possibly going after Monique. She might not say, though. To me, she might not say, despite her having a very bold mouth, this woman. She might not say that R. Kelly might be trying to get in her pants. She might not even know that it's on the way. Because even he preys on all type of stuff, right? And so I think that's all to be said about that. Look at her. She is fierce. The way that she was walking when she was going up in the courtroom and all this other stuff, right? You can tell fear standing that. As in a bold woman that's making bold moves, right? And she has on that what she has on, even though I can't dress in that. And yes, she has a mouth to say what she feels. That's what you call a real woman. Not a woman putting on hair and makeup trying to be cute and flawless and yet never say what they feel and think. I can't be bothered with that. What? That's a lost end on this end. And I'm in an ass. That's a lost end on this end, to be too pretty and then not say what you think and feel. This woman, that's in fact what made people tune into this woman. How she was representing Bill Cosby. It was in fact a lot of women of color, men of color, as well as many white females as well. And many men that didn't feel too much of a threat by her and her mouth speaking. That was the way that she should have spoken. Yes, as being an attorney. It don't stand in the courtrooms or wherever, or even representing somebody. Legal analyst or whatever she wanted to be and was completely. It's a speak and yes, carry yourself like this. I in fact wear suits like this. Did I say that? Did I or did I not say that? And yet I'm not going to be wearing that every day on nobody's camera. No. But that's in fact how I dress. Not with this like this, not the folding stuff like that, but I will wrap stuff around my neck. But I do in fact wear gloves and stuff like this, as well as, yes, those type of pants, as well as these more than anything. The blazer coats, I wear those. I've been known to wear those in fact every day as well. But the dress and all that, that's a no-go for me. No, ain't no party in that. So I think that's all to be said for now. I'm trying to still analyze that the swimsuit, because that's unrecognizable. It is pertaining to Relisha RUDD. So we're on Discovery. We're about to close out their scheduled shows, live in, live eat, live no chef, live no cook, and yet there is some feed, but possibly not on a shark or nothing like that. I will hope not. I ain't never tried no eating a shark, and possibly never will, right? But I do in fact know individuals that have in fact eaten alligator, and my mother was one of them. She's tried alligator. I may or may not try that. Should I or should I not? Because I might have to have some hot sauce or something to go with it or something. Where is I? Oh, come on. So it's something I'm clicking on here. Because my scroller has in fact disappeared. But yeah, that's all to be said. Their shows are all kinds. You can in fact find discovery.com, in which we're on right now, and I stated that and I'm repeating it. In Discovery, the link is provided below, as well the logo stays up above and everything else. So I think I'll be back. I said enough and yet not enough pertaining to, I know, we just gonna try to figure that one out, the swimsuit and the cabin. Remind me of that cabin, to Khalil having a cabin in Maryland before he died, because that points too. So I'll be back. I always am, ain't I?